Dear friends, today I will tell you the story of a man over 60 who enjoyed eating pan-fried beef with a few extra slices of fried bacon with his daily meals. Delicious, for sure, and incredibly convenient. The only thing was, after those tasty meals, he had to lie down and rest for nearly an hour because his heart would race. He'd sometimes get cramps, a light sweat would break out on his forehead, and his blood pressure would jump up by several points. That's when I asked myself, are the familiar dishes that we think of as delicious, nutritious, and traditional really as good as we imagine? Today's video was made from that very question. Not to say should we eat meat or not, but to help you understand which types of meat are silently harming your health and which are the quiet best friends helping to keep your legs steady, stabilize blood pressure, and maintain memory. We will go step by step. From the 3 types of meat to avoid. Even eating just a little each day can damage blood vessels, cause inflammation, or increase the risk of bowel cancer, according to warnings from the WHO. To the 3 types of meat that are very worth eating, because they are not only easy to digest and rich in protein, but also support muscle regeneration, protect the heart, and prolong the health of old age. And the surprising thing is, the meat ranked second on the to avoid list is actually a dish that many people still believe is nutritious. But when we delve deeper, the truth is completely different. Join me in exploring, because sometimes just one piece of meat chosen correctly or incorrectly can make a very big difference after the age of 60. If you ask me, what type of meat should we cut back on first after the age of 60? I wouldn't need to think much. It's processed meat. Sausage, cured sausage, bacon, ham. Sounds familiar, right? Just open the refrigerator, and many families already have a few sausages ready to quickly fry for breakfast, or a few slices of cold cuts to eat with bread. Some people say, just one slice of sausage, what's the big deal? I still feel fine. But the scary thing is, we eat those things a little bit every day and then forget how much we've eaten. Imagine it this way. One slice of sausage, seemingly light as a feather, actually contains nearly 1,000 milligrams of salt. If you eat a few more pieces of salted meat or bacon, that number easily exceeds 2,000 milligrams per day, which is the threshold that the American Heart Association recommends not to exceed, and our bodies, especially when we are over 60, no longer easily process excess salt like before. When sodium accumulates, water is retained, blood vessels are constricted, blood pressure spikes, the heart has to strain to pump harder. And that's not all. The way processed meat is made, smoked, salted with added nitrites to maintain a nice color, also inadvertently creates extremely harmful compounds. The World Health Organization, WHO, has clearly warned just 50 grams of processed meat per day can increase the risk of bowel cancer by up to 18 to 20%. The danger lies in the fact that these substances are odorless, tasteless, and don't disappear even if you reheat them or store them in the freezer. For young people, the body still has the ability to cope. But for older adults, especially those taking blood pressure medication with diabetes or heart disease, every slice of bacon in the morning can be the last straw. I once met a 68-year-old woman. Her blood pressure was quite stable, even though she was taking medication regularly. But after a few weeks of changing her breakfast to cold-cut sandwiches for convenience, her blood pressure started jumping from 135 to 150, even though her medication regimen hadn't changed at all. So, if you are looking for a small change with a big impact, gradually reducing processed meats will be a very worthwhile start. No matter how delicious or convenient they are, those slices of meat are not worth trading for a fading memory, weakening legs, or an unexpected stroke. But what's even more surprising, the meat ranked second on the list of things to avoid isn't something pink, packaged, or processed. On the contrary, it is considered high-end, nourishing, and even the main course at fancy parties by many people. A type of meat with a high price. But the true cost that the body has to pay is even higher. The second type of meat to avoid, fatty red meat. Looks good, tastes great, but silently drains muscle strength. A few months ago, I attended a small party at a close friend's house, full of delicious food, charred grilled lamb chops, thick-cut ribeye, evenly marbled with fat, filling the whole kitchen with aroma. A man sitting near me, smiling, said, "Red meat is truly nutritious. You only know you're alive when you eat it." I didn't disagree. Red meat has real value, but not every cut is the same, and not all nutrition is healthy. Because it's precisely those fatty, high-saturated fat cuts of red meat, like ribeye, beef belly, or lamb chops, that are silently weakening the muscles and cardiovascular systems of older adults. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Because for so many years we've thought fat provides energy. Eating it makes you strong and steady on your feet. But when it enters the body, this type of saturated fat increases bad cholesterol, LDL, causing blockages in tiny blood vessels, the very vessels that carry oxygen and nutrients to nourish muscle fibers. What is the result? Muscles aren't supplied, making it difficult to recover after exercise. And you will notice, thighs tire sooner when climbing stairs. It's hard to stand up after sitting for a long time. Your legs no longer have the same spring as before. Not only that, saturated fat also impairs the ability to synthesize protein in muscle tissue, especially in people over 60. At this age, the body is already lazy in responding to signals to build muscle. And if you add saturated fat, it will completely ignore the valuable protein in your meals. In other words, you might be eating enough meat, enough protein, but your body isn't rebuilding muscle tissue just because of the fat marbled within the meat. Not to mention, when you grill until charred or pan-fry thoroughly, these fatty cuts of meat also create a group of toxic compounds called AGEs and HCAs, which can cause faster aging of muscle cells, reduced elasticity of muscle tissue and blood vessels, and most dangerously, doesn't cause obvious sensations. You just notice each year, your legs getting weaker. I once heard someone share, "I still eat steak every week. The fat is soft, it tastes good, but why do my thighs get tired after climbing just 2 flights of stairs lately?" That's not old age. It's that the body has been gradually slowing down its recovery from the very filling meals that were thought to be nourishing. And finally, the third type of meat on today's list of things to avoid isn't fatty, isn't high-end, but is the easiest to appear, the most silent, and is frequently present in the weekly menus of many people. This type of meat is often associated with the phrase, "for convenience." But precisely because it's convenient, it gradually becomes a silent habit that weakens muscles, disrupts metabolism, and accelerates aging. Let's move on to the third type of meat to avoid: fried meat, fast food. Perhaps you've experienced an afternoon like this. The weather is a bit muggy, you're tired and don't want to cook. A piece of pre-made fried chicken, a hamburger with fried meat and sausage, or a plate of braised meat with a shiny golden layer of fat sold right at the beginning of the market. You only intended to buy it for the grandkids, but then you eat some too. It's just a bite for fun, but that bite is repeated several times a week. The problem lies in the fact that fried meat, fast food, isn't just meat. They are a dangerous combination of saturated fat from the meat, oil that has been used for frying multiple times, and refined carbohydrates from the batter, white bread, or accompanying French fries. Researchers call it the inflammation triangle, an almost perfect formula for causing silent chronic inflammation in the body, especially in muscle tissue and blood vessels. And the most dangerous thing is, chronic inflammation doesn't create obvious pain. It doesn't make you collapse immediately, but silently erodes muscle endurance, until one day getting up from a chair feels difficult, climbing stairs makes your thighs tired, or walking quickly causes you to lose balance. At that point, we often blame old age, forgetting that perhaps every piece of fried chicken, every rush meal, is accelerating that process. Do you know what really happens in the body after a fast food meal or fried meat? At first, there's the feeling of satisfaction. The hot piece of meat, the crispy crust, the fragrant aroma of fat and seasonings. But just 30 minutes later, inside the body is a completely different story. Saturated fat from the meat and the frying creates a thick stream of fat entering the blood, increasing the pressure on the liver and digestive system. Oil that has been used for frying many times contains trans fatty acids, the type that global health organizations like the WHO recommend eliminating completely. Refined carbohydrates from the batter or accompanying bread cause a sudden spike in blood sugar, triggering a systemic inflammatory response. When these inflammatory responses are repeated several times a week, the body no longer has the ability to suppress them as effectively as when it was younger, and the silent consequences appear. Muscle tissue is slightly but persistently damaged. Micronutrients like potassium and magnesium are not absorbed effectively. The efficiency of protein synthesis decreases, even if you eat enough protein. What is the result? Every light exercise, muscles don't recover as well as before. Lean muscle mass gradually atrophies, replaced by hidden fat tissue within the muscle. Not clearly visible, but your legs become truly weak. One day, even a quick turn can make you sway. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2016 showed people who eat fried foods 4 or more times per week have significantly higher levels of CRP and fibrinogen, two markers of blood inflammation, and it is that chronic inflammation that promotes the decline of muscle strength with age. But what troubles me most is that many older adults don't intentionally eat poorly, but eat out of convenience or because it's hard to change. A quick meal to make things easy, buying fried meat for the grandkids once and then eating some yourself, or simply liking the crispy, rich flavor they've been used to since they were young. So, is there a way to still eat well without making the body pay the price? The answer is yes, and it's simpler than you think. Instead of deep frying, you can use an air fryer or quickly pan fry with extra virgin olive oil. Limit direct charcoal grilling because excessive heat destroys nutrients and creates toxins. Prioritize boiled, steamed, and low-heat roasted meat, which can then be shredded and mixed with herbs, both delicious and not a burden on the muscles. Use more black pepper, ginger, turmeric, and garlic. Not only do they enhance flavor, but also help fight mild natural inflammation. A little tip that many nutrition experts suggest. When craving fried food, trick your taste buds by baking oatmeal-crusted chicken breast in the oven and spraying a little vegetable oil before baking. Crispy and fragrant texture, but no excess oil, no trans fats, no inflammation. You see, we don't need to give up delicious food, just change the way we cook it. Just one small adjustment helps the body avoid a chain of reactions that last for many hours after a meal. And sometimes, just for today's convenience, we lose the ability to be active in our steps next year. But don't worry, because after identifying the 3 types of meat to avoid, we will move on to the more important part, the 3 best types of meat for older adults' health, confirmed by Harvard Health, Mayo Clinic, and the American Heart Association. And surprisingly, the best type of meat isn't expensive or complicated, but extremely familiar and easy to find in the kitchen every day. We will start right now. Meat isn't to blame. Our bodies still need protein from meat to nourish muscles, produce blood, maintain memory, and sustain endurance. But the important thing is, choose the right cuts, the right amount, and the right cooking method. And in third place on the list of meats that people over 60 should eat is lean red meat, carefully selected. Let me tell you about Mr. Mike, 65 years old, a former construction worker, now retired and gardening. He shared, "I was used to eating meat, couldn't give it up, but after the doctor advised me, I tried switching from fatty pork belly to lean tenderloin, cutting off all the fat and steaming it with ginger. I didn't expect it to be so easy to eat and much lighter on my stomach. The important thing is that a few days later, when I walked to water the plants, my legs weren't as tired as before." What makes lean red meat a friendly companion to aging muscles? In red meat, especially the lean parts, is a whole nutritional treasure that the aging body needs every day. Firstly, lean red meat contains complete protein with all the essential amino acids. This is the building block material for muscles, and when activity decreases, every precious gram of protein needs to be supplied regularly to keep legs from weakening, hands from trembling, and the back still strong. Secondly, red meat is one of the richest natural sources of leucine, the amino acid switch for the muscle synthesis process. Without leucine, no matter how much protein you eat, the body won't flip the switch to rebuild depleted muscle tissue. Thirdly, lean red meat provides vitamin B12 and heme iron, 2 extremely important micronutrients for older adults. Not only do they help regenerate blood and transmit nerve signals, but they also directly support the body's recovery after exercise. The special thing is, iron and B12 from meat are absorbed much better than from plants. That's why strict vegetarians often find themselves dizzy, lightheaded when standing up because muscle tissue isn't being properly nourished. But it must also be made clear, not every piece of meat is a friend. A marbled ribeye with streaks of white fat, truly tender, truly delicious, but it's a burden on the liver, blood vessels, and even the stomachs of older adults. In contrast, a slice of shoulder tender, rump, or sirloin, though it looks dry, is firm, lean, low in saturated fat, and is precisely what helps the body recover after light exercise. Just 60 to 90 grams of lean red meat, 2 to 3 times per week. You can nourish your muscles gently without worrying about excess fat or feeling bloated. Here's a suggestion for you. Braise lean meat with ginger, radish, and a little turmeric. No oil, no sauce, no strong seasoning. You can eat it with a little brown rice, add a piece of broccoli, and that's it. After about 2 months, you'll feel like your body is grateful, not too full, not tired, but with strength. No need to make a big deal out of it. Just choose the right cut of meat again. Cook it again in a gentle way. Eat it again at a moderate pace. That's how red meat becomes a friend, helping you stand up without needing anyone's support, keeping your steps steady without trembling, and sleeping peacefully so you still feel strong the next morning. And if you want to continue on a lighter journey, still enough nutrients, still supporting muscle recovery, but gentler, cooler, and easier to digest, we will move on to the second-ranked food, skinless chicken breast and turkey breast, a familiar dish, not requiring fuss, but silently supporting endurance every day for people over 60. There are dishes that don't need to be dazzling to impress. Not many colors, not strong flavors, but they stay with us longer than any delicacy. Chicken breast or skinless turkey breast is just such an example. It doesn't overwhelm you, but the body silently appreciates it after every meal that includes this meat. When age begins to slow down every process, from digestion to muscle recovery, what the body needs isn't a complicated dish, but an easily digestible low-fat source of protein that doesn't put pressure on the cardiovascular system or the liver and kidneys. And chicken breast does that very well. It provides just enough protein to help the body patch up every muscle fiber worn down over the years. Doesn't cause bloating after eating, doesn't cause fatigue after dinner, and doesn't create bad cholesterol like fatty red meats. The best thing is, the protein in chicken is absorbed very quickly. When older adults eat chicken after light exercise, like walking or Tai Chi, the body will use this protein source to repair small damage in muscle tissue, preventing silent muscle loss. And not just muscles. Chicken breast also helps regulate feelings of hunger, helping you eat enough without overeating. It supports sleep because it doesn't make the stomach have to strain to work at night. And most importantly, it creates a light feeling, but not an empty one. For older adults, that's the ideal balance, a dish that helps the body get enough nutrients while still allowing for a light, healthy, and independent life. Preparing this dish doesn't require any special techniques either. Boil, steam, quickly pan fry with a little healthy oil, braise with soft vegetables, easy to eat, easy to chew, and easier to get into muscles than any other type of meat. If you know how to divide 20 to 30 grams of protein evenly over 3 meals each day, and when combined with green vegetables, whole grains, or a little healthy fat-rich nuts, that seemingly simple dish becomes a complete meal, both filling and light, nourishing muscles, without putting a burden on the heart or stomach. Skinless chicken, though not luxurious, is the just right food to accompany the body every day. Not too much, not too little, but always present, silently preserving the strength we thought we had lost over time. And if you're wondering, is there any food that supports muscles even more effectively, while also benefiting memory, sleep, and the cardiovascular system? The answer is yes. It is a dish rich in protein, rich in omega-3s, and considered the most comprehensive nutritious meat for people over 60. Let's explore fatty fish, the top-ranked meat, right now. There are dishes that our bodies react to in a very unique way. Not noisy, not obvious. But after a few weeks, you find yourself lighter, less aching after waking up, less knee fatigue after a few steps. And strangely, your mind is also clearer every morning. That's not a feeling that comes from a pill, but from a piece of tender braised fish, a lightly grilled slice of salmon, or a spoonful of sardines eaten with vegetables. Fatty fish isn't just an easily digestible white meat. It is a special type of meat, almost unique, that provides enough protein to maintain lean muscle while also offering two precious compounds, EPA and DHA, things that the bodies of older adults cannot produce on their own. Unlike protein from red meat or chicken, protein in fatty fish comes with natural anti-inflammatory properties, helping muscle fibers not only be nourished, but also recover every day, avoiding the silent small inflammations that we never see with the naked eye. As we age, the process of muscle regeneration slows down, and the omega-3s in fatty fish are the key to reopening the sensitivity of muscles to protein from food. Without it, no matter how much protein you eat, only a small part is absorbed. But when there is enough EPA and DHA, then every gram of protein, every meal, becomes many times more useful. That's why fatty fish isn't just food. It's the foundation for the body to maintain its fitness in old age. It doesn't stop at muscles. DHA in fish also helps maintain connections between nerve cells, supporting memory and reducing the risk of dementia. It keeps the mind clearer, reflexes faster, and wonderfully, fatty fish also supports sleep, helping you sleep more deeply, waking up less in the middle of the night due to aches, pains, or numb legs. The important thing isn't that you eat a lot of fish, but that you eat it regularly and correctly. Just a few slices of fish each week, lightly braised, steamed, or baked in the oven at medium heat. No need to fry, no need for heavy marinating. If you're not used to it, you can start with low-salt canned sardines. Simple, easy to eat, and easy to combine with vegetables and grains. Fatty fish doesn't come to create immediate satisfaction, but it comes to stay. To retain what we thought we had lost with age: muscles, agility, memory, and the ability to control ourselves. And after all, that is the goal that any older adult deserves to reach. Not living too long, but living deeply enough. Not needing to be too strong, but strong enough to take a walk around the block. To stand up without support. To sleep soundly. And to clearly remember the names of the grandchildren. Fatty fish is the food for that. At a certain age, people no longer eat because they crave it, but eat so they can still stand up without help. Eat so their hands don't tremble when pouring water. Eat so they can remember things that seem simple, like the way home or the birthdays of loved ones. And at some point we begin to realize that not every food that makes us full helps us stay with ourselves longer. Meat, thought to be something to avoid when old, but in reality, it just needs to be chosen again. Choose the right cuts, the right way, and the right time. There are types of meat that make the body heavy, tired, and silently lose muscle, but there are also gentle, low-fat, easy-to-digest pieces of meat, quietly compensating for what the body is lacking. Weak muscle fibers, confused memory, and an unsteady heartbeat. Living healthy after 60 isn't about cutting everything out. It's about knowing what to keep, what to let go of, and starting with the smallest choices. A tender piece of chicken, a piece of fish braised to perfection, a lean cut of meat cooked simply, easy on the stomach. They don't change life immediately, but day by day, week by week, the body will begin to remember how to recover, to get stronger from within. And if there's one thing you need to take away from this video, it's this. No need to give up meat. Just change the meat, and change with understanding, not fear. Because every meal is a message that we still cherish our bodies. That even with gray hair, slower steps, and a memory not as sharp as before, we still want to live actively, live lightly, and live each day to the fullest. If today's sharing touches you in some way, please save it and share it with loved ones and friends, those who are also on the journey of caring for their old age, because none of us grow old alone, and health, if maintained with understanding and gentleness, will always find a way to return.